Alright, so today we are going to review how to classify a number as prime or composite. And as a fifth grader, you are responsible for knowing every number from 0 all the way to 100. So any number along this number line, I should be able to give you, or anyone should be able to give you, and you should be able to tell me, oh, it's prime, oh, it's composite. Now, of course, you're not just ever going to look at the number and spew out the word prime or composite that fast. You're going to stop, and you're going to think through the next few things that we're going to go over in this video. So first, we're just going to review the definition of prime and composite. Prime is a shorter word, so it has less factors than composite numbers. Composite is a longer word, so it has lots of factors. Short word, few factors. Composite, long word, lots of factors. So if we just look at our definition, prime has exactly how many factors? Hopefully everyone is yelling 2 factors. The only way to multiply, or the only fact that will give you a prime number, is 1 times itself. There's no other way to get that number. So for example, 7 is a prime number because the only way to get 7 is 1 times 7. No other way in this world will give you that. Well, of course, you may be thinking 7 times 1. That's still the same 2 factors, 1 and 7. Over on the composite side, there's composite, long word, lots of factors, so they are going to have more than 2 factors. Composite numbers have some other way to multiply and get the number. So for example, the number 14. If you're thinking about the number 14, automatically you should be thinking either 1 times 14 or 14 times 1. But if you know your multiplication facts, you may also know that 2 times 7 is 14. That means that there is some other way to get this number. And since there's another way, it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has more than 2 factors. So, prime number, little word, only one way to make it, or exactly 2 factors. Composite, long word, lots of factors. Okay? So, we are going to go ahead and look at the super secret calculator trick. That is going to be super helpful in determining what all these other numbers up here are along the number line as prime or composite. So, there is a super important box that you should know about at this point. And that box has the magic numbers that you will need to know in order to classify something as prime and composite. And those are 2, 3, what's the rest of them? 5. Yep, one more. 7. This is your wondrous prime and composite box. Because with this box, you can now classify every number from 0 to 100 on a number line. So, first let's start with these little single-digit numbers. These little single-digit numbers are going to be very easy to classify. You're thinking 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These guys are very simple. They're either prime or composite, or there's 2 lonely numbers on here that are neither. Out of all of these numbers, there are 2 numbers, one's odd and one's even, that we cannot classify as prime or composite. They're the only 2 numbers in the world that we will not classify as prime or composite. And they are, you said it, 0 and 1. They are the lonely numbers all by themselves. They do not get classified as prime or composite. 0 and 1 automatically are out. Then we look at the rest of these. Alright? Very, very, very simple way of knowing if these are prime or composite. If they are in the magical box, they are prime. So, 2 is in the box, it's prime. 3 is in the box, it's prime. 4 is not in the box, so it is composite. 5 is in the box, prime. 6, not in the box, composite. 7 in the box, prime. 8 and 9, neither are in the magical prime composite box. They are both composite. Now, the reason that they are composite, if we really stop and think about it, is that we could do something other than 1 times 4. We could do 2 times 2. 6, we could do something other than 1 times 6. We could do 2 times 3. 8, what could we do besides 1 times 8? 2 times 4. 9, the one that everybody gets tricked on. There is another way besides 1 times 9. What is it? You got it. 3 times 3. Alright. Now, I know that's itty-bitty, but the best way to classify your single-digit numbers are to know that these guys are neither. In the box is prime, not in the box is composite. So then, what do we do with all of our tricky 2-digit numbers? For the rest of these numbers, you're going to use the calculator along with this box. Now, in addition to this box and the calculator, you actually have to track your work on your thinking paper very, very, very carefully. So we will do a couple of examples of how to use this in the calculator to classify every other number on this number line as prime or composite. So let's take some fun numbers like 27, 83, and let's go with 93. Alright, so when I have to classify these numbers, I'm going to say, okay, they're 2-digit. I'm going to automatically write down my magic prime and composite box, 2, 3, 5, 7. Some people like to put a little division symbol out here because what we're actually doing is working backwards. I don't know if 2 times something gives me 27 or 3 times something gives me 27. So I'm going to use my calculator to work backwards to figure out if something times this number will give me 27. So when I'm working backwards, the opposite of multiplying by 2 would be dividing. So I'm taking my 27, dividing it by 2, and of course this does not work. And what I mean by it doesn't work is that it gives me a decimal something right here. So if it gives me a decimal something, this does not work. Alright, I like to call it a decimal blah blah blah. Now 2 obviously also doesn't work because this is an odd number, and odd numbers are not divisible by 2. So don't forget about those guys. Clear it out. Try your next one in the magic box. You have 27 divided by your next number of 3. Nine, whole number. That means that this works. So I'm going to circle it and put a C. Alright, I'm going to circle it and put a C. Circle and C. They sound alike. If I can circle something, then my number is composite. Why can I circle something? Because it divides and works out perfectly. I don't care about the rest of these. I'm done with 27. As soon as I find something that works, as soon as I find a number right here that works, then I'm done with 27. It's composite. Let's go to our next question. 83. Okay, I have no idea if 83 is prime or composite just looking at it. So I'm writing out my magical numbers. You must write this on your thinking paper in order to be successful with prime and composite numbers. So I take 83, divide by 2. Hopefully everyone is screaming, no, that won't work because it's an odd number. Gives me a decimal blah blah blah. So I cross it out. I clear my calculator and I start again. 83 divided by 3. Whoops, that did not work. 83 divided by 3. Calculator only works if your fingers do, right guys? Alright, decimal blah blah blah. Mark it out. It's a whole lot of blah blah blah. Alright, here we go. Clear it out. 83 divided by 5. Decimal blah. Does not work. It's got to be a whole number for it to work. 83 divided by 7. Decimal blah blah blah. Nothing works. There's nothing I can circle, which means I cannot put a C. If nothing works, then this number is prime. The only way to make 83 is 1 times 83. Nothing else is a factor. It has only 2 factors. Alright, and then our last example is going to be 93. 93. Alright, so what do I write? Decimal, or divide, 2, 3, 5, 7. I take my calculator, I write 93 divided by 2. Decimal blah. Does not work. Clear it out. 93 divided by 3. Ooh, it gave me 31, so I'm going to circle the 3. And since I was able to circle something, I'm going to call it composite. Circle composite. That means that I can get 93 by doing 1 times 93, obviously, but I can also do 3 times whatever this calculator says, 31. I don't care about the rest of these numbers. I'm done. As long as I find one thing that works, I can circle it, write composite, and I'm finished. So, I hope this was a good, quick little review of what you've been learning about classifying numbers as prime and composite. The most important thing is keep in mind that your single-digit numbers, you cannot use a calculator. You just have to know these are neither. In the box is prime, not in the box is composite, as far as your single digits. And then once you get to your double-digit numbers, all the way up to 100, you can use this fabulous calculator trick. However, the calculator only works if your thinking paper is set up neatly and you are carefully typing things in. So, your thinking paper should look like this times like 50 or however many questions or however many numbers you are asked to do. So, now it is your turn to show all this fancy math off. Have fun!